Hey guys, welcome to Growing with Sarah. I'm Sarah. Today I'm going to be talking with you guys about what I plan to grow from seed in 2024. I'm going to be talking about the annual flowers and grasses. I'm going to be discussing the different seed stores that I purchase from. So the annual flower collection that I have here is the biggest section of seeds that I start every year. And so it has sort of varieties of different seed shops that I like to shop from, and I'm going to talk about those as we go through. So if that sounds like something that you're interested in, stick around. I'm going to start with aster. So aster is a flower that I grew for the first time this past grow season, and it was this variety. Just fell in love with them. I thought they were so gorgeous, and they really last a long time in a vase, and I really didn't have to do much to get them to grow. They were really easy peasy. And so I wanted to expand out into some of the different varieties that are out there and see if I have the same kind of luck or if I can have a good learning experience with the aster. So the other varieties of aster that I'm going to be growing this year are Bennery's Princess Bright Red, this pastel mix, and the Gusford Supreme. And these are all from Baker Creek. Some of my favorite things about Baker Creek, and you're going to see that I really enjoy Baker Creek. I have a ton of their stuff. I would say they're my #1 seed shop. They're where I go first. If I can find what I want at Baker Creek, that's where I buy it. They have free shipping, and they have tons of varieties that you just can't find at other seed stores. A lot of them can be very rare seeds is what they call it. They have seed selection outside of the normal sort of everyday seeds that other shops might have. That's some tea. Also, they send out free seeds, and as I found out in that video with the catalog review, I found that they also send out free bulbs when you order bulbs from them, which was a total surprise to me and just really fantastic. It's a very generous with the amount of seeds that they give you. You know, these have a minimum of 200 seeds. I don't know what I would do with 200 of these, but then I'll have them for next year, you know, if I decide I want to grow them again, or if something happens this year where I don't succeed, I can try again and not have to invest again. So that is something that those are some of the things that I really like about Baker Creek and why I tend to shop there more than any place else. All right, next we have celosia. So celosia is really fantastic for cutting and having in your bouquets. Most of them are also just really sort of neat looking. They have a really different look than other types of flowers that you grow in your garden. So this is the Johnny seeds. For the Johnny seeds, I'll put up a picture so you can see what the varieties look like. Their packaging does not have any picture of the plant on it, but it does have a ton of growing information on the back. And so this is the Pampas Plume Celosia. I'll pop up a picture and I'll talk about Johnny's. So Johnny's is a really good quality seed shop, and they are more expensive than anywhere else. I think Johnny's is probably the most expensive seeds, and they have expensive shipping. You don't get free shipping until you spend $200 at Johnny's. Now, in defense of that, they do sell bulk seed. So there are growers, you know, like large scale growers buying from Johnny. And they also sell like different equipment and things like that. They're a much larger store than Rare Seeds is in what they offer. They have so much variety of most of the flowers and plants that you're going to be looking for, and they are very well tested. They go through a lot of research and development with the seeds that they sell. They give you a ton of information just on the seed packet. Like I said, they even give you like germination rate for this lot. And if you say that this lot 68966 had an 80% germination rate, and that was tested in October, just last month. So that information is really, really useful if you're going to decide like how many seeds you want to sow per cell. With these at 80%, I would probably just sow 2 seeds per cell, which I always do just to be on the safe side. But you could probably get away with sowing just 1 seed per cell with an 80% germ rate. You're pretty close to guaranteed to getting. And also their website is absolutely gorgeous. It's they do have really beautiful pictures of their plants. They're just not on the thing. So here's their catalog. It has pumpkins on it this year, but the photography and descriptions that you're going to find for all of their plants online or in their catalog are top notch. If you're growing something that you're not really familiar with, you can find just about everything you need to know about how to get it to grow on Johnny's. And that includes flowers and vegetables. Okay. So the other celosia varieties that I'm growing are these green sango and the green sylphid. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. From Baker Creek. Next type of flower that I love to grow in my garden, I just love the way they look out in the garden, but also I enjoy cutting them for bouquets, is cosmos. So I have a few different varieties of cosmos here. So if you're new to starting seeds and you want to do a flower of some kind, I would say start with cosmos. They're pretty much foolproof. So I have the Cupcakes White. Again, I'll put a picture of these up for the Johnnies. I have the Cosmos Zinnia. This was really beautiful last year. I really, really enjoyed it. It's a shorter variety. I'm probably going to end up planting these in a lot more places because they were really nicely contained. Okay, so then Apricot Lemonade, Japanese Kiro, and Double Dutch Rose. I really liked this variety. I really, really like the double varieties. They last longer in a bouquet than the single petal varieties do. The next thing that I'm growing is Dusty Miller. This variety is called Silver Dust from Johnny Seed. I did grow this last year, and unfortunately I lost a bunch out on the porch before I was able to get them planted. It's such a beautiful filler, and you can also use it in bouquets. So that one I will be doing and doing better on. So this is dahlias. These are the pom-pom dahlias that I grew last year. This is from a company called Outside Pride. Outside Pride is a fantastic seed company because they carry such a huge variety of things that you don't think you can necessarily grow from seed, like dahlias or geraniums, just things that you would normally buy as an already grown plant or as a tuber or a bulb you can get seeds for on Outside Pride. They also have like a really great grass section if you're looking to redo something in your lawn and you don't know how to decide on what kind of grass you want to use and things like that. Outside Pride, their website is a really excellent resource for that. They have a ton of information. Otherwise, all of their flowers and vegetables, they sell annual, perennial, vegetables, herbs, all of that as well. They give decent information. The thing that I like about the information that Outside Pride gives is they give a little bit sort of written out information. tells you well-draining, rich, fertile soil that's slightly acidic, and that you can sow them indoors 4 to 6 weeks, and how to sow them. So lightly cover the seed with soil or peat moss only to the thickness of the seed itself, which is a really good rule of thumb for planting seeds. You only need to plant the seed as deep as the seed itself is. So, well, like doubly. So if your seed is this wide, then you want your hole to be, double that. So your seed sits here, and then you're putting just as much soil on top of that seed as the density of the seed. I don't know how to I don't know if I'm explaining that well. But also they put information on the back, and they use like visuals, pictures, to tell you this is how you should seed it. This is what your soil type should look like. This is your planting depth. How many days it takes for it to germinate, those types of things. And it's just a lot where you look at the written, and a lot of seed companies do that, where it's just like a little, small paragraph or something along those lines that gives you growing information, and then they give you like maybe a little chart on the side. This is just really nice and easy to look at and to pull information out of this very quickly because it gives you that visual pop. I really like that about their seed packets. That's something that I really appreciate about Outside Pride. So the next thing that I'm going to be growing for my cutting garden is eucalyptus. So eucalyptus is not very hard to grow once you get it started. It does take a long time to grow, 120 to 150 days for this, which is the silver dollar eucalyptus. So I do have to start this indoors. This will be one of the first seeds that I start. And it says to start this 10 to 12 weeks before your growing season begins, but I typically start this in like mid-January, early February, which is 16 weeks before my first frost, or my last frost, which is June 1st. So I just like to give it extra time because even though my danger of frost might be over, my growing season is like 120 days only, and it's not very warm. I live in a very temperate area. It doesn't get super hot here in the summer. We're talking, mid 80s. We might have a few, like handful of days spread through the summer where we get into the 90s. Maybe we're going to have a week to 2 weeks all together, but spread out of days where we got above 90 degrees. And consistently, we're more in like the mid 70s. For something that needs a good amount of heat to grow, I like to have it grown fairly well before I put it outside. So that's why I start my eucalyptus super early. And then the next one is geranium. These are from Outside Pride. Again, they had a bunch of different colors that you can order from. This gave me 100 seeds of a mix. I figured that was pretty good. I wasn't sure which colors I wanted to go with, but growing geraniums from seed will be a real money saver for me because I love geraniums. But they're expensive to buy at a greenhouse or even from Walmart. So I'm excited to try this. I've never grown geraniums from seed before. These do say to start them 8 to 10 weeks before my last frost. I may start these when I start my eucalyptus, or like maybe start some when I start my eucalyptus and then start some per the seed packet at 8 to 10 weeks, just to see if having that extra time is more useful to getting them to flower during the season when I need them to, like, I want them to be, if not flowering, close to flowering stage by the time I get them outside, right? I don't want to put my geraniums outside and then have to wait a month for them to start giving me color. Okay, next is grass. So I have 3 varieties, right? 3 varieties of grass. So yeah, I'm so super excited for this one, you guys. I know I talked about this in the Baker Creek catalog seed haul video, but It is the bunny tails. This is so cute. It's so adorable. I look forward to having it, in pots as, decorative pots out on my porch and stuff like that, but also growing it for cutting and then having in the house through the winter and to go with my eucalyptus and everything like that through the winter because it's really adorable and it's going to look so cute in bouquets. I mean, I really think this is a versatile grass. I'm excited to have that. Same thing with this feather top. I grew this last year, very easy to grow. You do have to start this early, 8 to 12 weeks before your last frost, but grass is I mean, grass is the most abundant plant on the planet. It's not hard to grow, and the little annual decorative grasses are super fun to have in your pots and for cutting. And it lasts great in a bouquet. And then if, all your flowers are dead, because typically your flowers in a bouquet are going to die before your grass does, then you can just take that grass, dry it, and then you have dried grass flower heads. And the last variety here is Savannah. This is really pretty. I'm going to put this in the containers at the bottom of the stairs on the back porch. I think it says so the foliage is 1.5 feet high with the flower stalks reaching about 2 feet high. That's going to be really, really pretty. And just the way grass splays out and everything like that is going to look really nice in those pots. Next is Guara Sparkle White, and this is from a seed company called Park Seed. Sorry, this is bent a little bit. I'll put a picture up. This Park Seed is a seed company that I found last year specifically because I was looking for guara. And I started these seeds last year, and unfortunately, these were some of the victims of me not having enough energy to get everything planted out in a timely manner, and they did not survive. So I didn't get them in anywhere. But guara is sort of a tall, almost grassy like flower that gives a lot of movement. So I'm hoping to be able to use this on the north side of the house and give a little bit of movement on that side of the house. So I'm interested in this over there. And I do have a decent amount of seeds. These seeds are actually kind of interesting looking too. They're big, first of all. And then they kind of have like a little, not quite a star, but ridges there. And they look more like some sort of seed that you would eat than plant in the ground. I don't think they are edible though, so so don't eat them. Or do your due diligence, research them, but don't take any tips from me on eating seeds. So Park Seed, I found that it's a good company. I really like the stuff that I grew from them. I felt like the germination was good. Unfortunately, I didn't get to see these grow all the way through, but they did appear that they were going to be perfectly healthy. I do start a lot of seeds, but I'm definitely no expert, so I'm not giving these seeds, 100% the best chance possible to survive with my methods. So if a seed does survive and thrives and does well after going through my seed growing methods, then I think it's worthwhile and pretty much anybody could grow it. Next, I have the hibiscus, the mahogany splendor. This seed I've had for years now, and I've never grown it. There was a point in time about 3 years ago where I was fully committed to starting a flower farm. I was living in a different place, and I had the acreage that I needed in a very nice community to be able to sell at a farmer's market. And so I had fully intended to start a flower farm, and I had a lot of seeds, just some seed packets, but other things I had more in bulk. I had wanted to try this. I wasn't very sure how I would use it necessarily in bouquets, but I wanted to try it because I'd seen it on YouTube channels, and it looked beautiful and easy enough to grow. So I was going to try it out. And then I ended up moving, into like an apartment for a year, and I still gardened, but I grew everything out of grow bags. So I didn't really have much beyond zinnias for cut flowers that year. And then we moved here, and I just haven't tried it out. But I think next year I have a better idea of how I can maximize my grow space in the backyard, because this gets big. It gets to a big plant. So I'm going to try it out. I think I have enough space, and I have enough of an idea of how I want to grow back there. Next is impatiens. I spend a little, I would say probably about $20 every year on impatiens. They're really great little plants to pop in any of your dark, shady or part shade nooks and crannies. And I just happen to have a really great amount of space that's shady and part shade over on the south side of my house. Okay, sorry. My battery died, so I had to I had to replace that real quick. And I believe we were talking about impatiens. Every year, especially since being in this house, I have purchased impatiens to go in the shady borders on the south side of my yard. And I always regret not buying more, but then I don't want to go buy more because it costs money. So I thought this year I would try growing them myself, and then I could have as much as I could grow a lot more than I would normally purchase. To be fair, impatiens are some of the cheaper flowers that you can buy if you're just buying basic impatiens. Sun patiens can get more expensive. You can get a little 4-pack of basic impatient at Walmart for $2.50 or something along those lines. But I felt that being able to grow as much as I really felt I needed was going to be useful, and probably end up saving me money in the long run, because not just that, I don't have to buy impatiens, but I don't have to go to the garden center in Walmart or to a greenhouse just to get impatiens, because the truth of the matter is I'm going to go there and I'm going to purchase more than just impatiens, right? I'm going to spend more money because I'm there and I'm surrounded by all of the beautiful things, and I want them all, right? So keeps me out of the greenhouse and more busy in my actual garden. But let me go ahead and just talk about, I almost forgot, botanical interest. So this is a seed shop that I also love. It's great because they have some of your, sort of classic plant varieties, but they also have some more rare plant varieties, or things that you maybe wouldn't think that you wouldn't think about actually growing from seed, like impatiens. Next is lavender. So I have the lavender torch blue and the lavender torch minty ice. These are a little bit more. I wouldn't say that these are necessarily beginner friendly type seeds. You do have to give them a cold stratification, and you have to you have to put them on a moist paper towel and put them in your refrigerator for 30 to 40 days, or give them sort of that 40 degrees for 30 to 40 days. So if you have a place in your house where it's going to be above freezing, but I would say, between like 35 and 45 degrees is where you want these to be for at least a month before you actually plant them in soil. I grew these last year. They did beautifully. I was really happy with it. I haven't done like a cold stratification on seeds before, and I've definitely never tried to grow lavender. That is always something that I have grown from a plant that I bought at a nursery or garden center. And so it was really nice to have the lavender. I dried a lot of it. I mean, it's not like I'm not growing a field of lavender here, but it was enough to have a few little bits and pieces of lavender in some of my raised beds, and then also have it more as like a decorative plant for that upright structure, and that cone sort of cylindrical type flower head that lavender has in a few of my containers out on the porch. I definitely am going to grow this again this year. I'll probably use up whatever I have left. These both came with a minimum of 25 seeds, and I've got probably at least 15 of each variety left. So I'm going to go ahead and finish those up this year. I really enjoyed growing it, got a lot out of it, and I still am getting a lot out of it. I have it in like little satchels in my, in my drawers and things like that. So it was really nice, and definitely a cost savings because lavender is an expensive plant. And to buy things like dried lavender and things like that are a lot pricier than these seeds cost $4, and I'm going to get, at least 2 years worth of lavender in all the ways I would like to have it out of that $4, which to me is definitely a cost savings. Okay, next, botanical interest. Again, let's talk a little bit more about botanical interest. So these are marigolds. Botanical interest also, one of the perks of buying from botanical interest is that owners or some of the business partners are on YouTube. So Epic Gardening and is and I think Jacques too. So Jacques in the Garden and Epic Gardening and Epic Homesteading. Those three channels are all sort of intertwined because of those two, Kevin and Jacques, and they are, they have their business partners with botanical interest. Get to hear information about how the seeds are grown and the whole process of packaging seeds and how they ship and all kinds of stuff. They've got a few videos out on the actual seed store. So that's interesting to get sort of a behind the scenes view of how your seeds got to you. And I've had really good, I've used botanical interest since before they were business partners in promoting it, but it's really just a great shop. And another thing that you can get from botanical interest, it's a different varieties of microgreens if you're into that and you want to be growing something in the winter that you can eat. Microgreens are super easy. You just spread them out on some soil and stick them in a window, and they will grow, and you can have nice little spicy bites for a salad or a sandwich or whatever. So botanical interest is a place that I would suggest you go for that, for those types of seeds. But also Johnny's has that. Okay, next is nasturtiums. So nasturtiums are one of my very favorite plants to grow. They are beautiful. They're really unique structures against everything else that you have in your garden because the leaves are very much like lily pads, and the flowers are just really, really pretty, and they come in a variety of really gorgeous colors. They come in different shapes, and the leaves can be variegated. They can be more blue green or bright green, and so you can really do a lot with a nasturtium, and they're very easy to grow. Now you can eat them. I believe that all parts of this plant are edible, but again, don't quote me on that. I have eaten the leaves, I've eaten the flowers, and I've eaten the seed pods. Myself, I pickled the seed pods one year. I've tried it all. Don't like it. Lily, on the other hand, my daughter, really enjoys the flavor of the pickled seeds. To each their own, I say. I would say try it. If you don't like it, you don't like it. Then But I have a bunch of varieties here. So one of my absolute favorite variety types is the tip top. These are really small, maybe 12 inches high and wide. The flowers are above the leaves, and it just makes a really pretty sort of filler plant in a container. And so I have a bunch of different colors on this one. I have the Alaska salmon, the tip top apricot, have the mahogany, pink blush, rose, ladybird rose. Oh wait, is ladybird rose a tip top? No, but it stays around the same, like 1.5 feet by 1.5 feet. So that's a more compact variety. So this is another seed company that I have used, and it's a Select Seeds. I can't say too much about Select Seeds except for the things that I have grown from them have grown really well. I bought a bunch of seeds from them on sale one year. I can't remember how I came across the company. I must have been just like Google surfing. They were having like an end of season sale, and I got a bunch of nasturtium seeds from them, and they have all been really great, perfect germination, and really strong, healthy plants. So that's about what I can tell you about Select Seeds. I can say that their nasturtium seeds grow really well. So you might want to check them out. I may go ahead and check them out again this year. Yeah, so and saying that, this is what I have decided on growing for 2024, but of course this list is subject to change. I might see something that I really just have to have. The next nasturtiums, these are also a more compact variety that get like 10 to 12 inches tall and wide. That is the Fiesta blend. Very pretty. Grew those this year. They're very pretty. The Purple Emperor. These are supposed to be a vining variety. I grew these last year, and I found that they were more of a mounding habit, but it ended up being really pretty. So I'm going to go ahead and grow those again this year. The Orchid Cream, I have just a couple of these left, which is a bummer, but these are also more of a mounding variety. And then last but not least, I have the Butterscotch. I bought a big packet of these. This is also more of a vining variety and gets pretty big, which I love. I love to have the really big varieties on the corners of my beds to sort of spill out into the walkways and things like that. I think that looks really just just really pretty and romantic. Pansies. Okay, so pansies are great, for that early spring color. And I actually can get pansies to go all year here, most summers, as long as I have them in a place that they can be shaded from the afternoon sun. I mean, they'll slow down a little bit in the real heat of summer, but like I said, that's real heat of summer is just not real heat of summer where I live. So I have the Black King, then the Coronation Gold, and the Celestial Blue. Easy enough to grow. You do kind of have to start these indoors pretty early, and then you can get them out really early, though. One of the other things you have to think about when you're starting seeds is how much room do you have? I'm going to be starting a lot of seeds, but how many of those plants and how long are they actually going to be inside the house? So like a eucalyptus or geranium, that's going to be in my house for at least 5 months. So where am I going to have that? How am I going to keep it alive? The lighting, the food, all that stuff. Those are things you have to think about. Then I have, 30 other varieties of flowers and grasses and things like that that I want to grow at the same time that I'm going to be starting indoors. Where am I going to put all of that? These are things that you have to think about. What are you going to do when they get to a bigger size? How early can they get put out? And that's something that I go through and I write out sort of like a calendar of when I'm going to be starting certain varieties and when I'm going to be moving those varieties out of my house and then therefore have more room for other varieties. So most of the vegetables that I grow don't have to be started until like 2 months at the most before they can go outdoors. And so, if I start 20 pansies, then these can go out within a month of me starting like my tomatoes. So they can handle a frost and then everything like that. So they can really go outside, and then I have more space for my 20 tomato plants. So that's something that I'll definitely talk about. I'm not going to go through it in this video because it's already very long. long. This is going to be the longest video of what I'm starting in 2024 from seed, because this is where the bulk of my stuff is. This is where I feel I have the most cost savings from starting from seed. But that's something you want to keep in mind. Do you have the space for all of these seedlings? And I'll show you my setup and how I organize my growing periods and moving things in and out of my house to keep myself from being a little too crazy. But really, my house will be filled with plants, and my kids will be like, get these things out of here. A flower that I'm going to be growing is Phlox. And this is the Lavender Beauty. Last year, I tried to start the Lavender Beauty and also caramel, say caramel apple, but I don't think it's actually called caramel apple. I'll look it up and I'll put a picture on the screen here for you guys. And that caramel one required a cold stratification, so I had that in the refrigerator, like I had the lavender in the refrigerator, and for whatever reason that it just didn't work. So that was kind of a bummer because I only got a few of those seeds. They're you're not getting like this one. I got 200 seeds. If this fails, I can try again without having to spend more money. But those caramel ones were actually, I think I got like 5 seeds or something, and I used them all and they all failed. So that was kind of a bummer. But I am going to try this one this year. And this says that you sow it in place as soon as the soil can be worked. So I may try doing that, but I'm also going to be doing, for the first time this year, some winter sowing, like in milk jugs. So this is probably going to be one of the plants that I try in the milk jugs as well. Wait, so I showed the marigolds, but I didn't talk about the marigolds. Okay, marigolds, just a fantastic little plant to have in your garden everywhere. It's a great filler. It works to help keep your ground covered a lot. And it also is beneficial for different types of bugs. They tend to attract good bugs and deter bad bugs. These, I don't know. The French ones, the French varieties are the ones that really deter negative bugs. This lemon and tangerine gems, signet. I don't know if these are French, like that French variety or not, but they will attract like hummingbirds and things like that. So just a great little plant to have. I always have marigolds sprinkled everywhere in the garden. Next, I have poppies. This is a breadseed poppy. It is peony double blend. And they're gorgeous. I had poppies out in my garden last year that were really stunning. I think it was the giant rattle or bread box or something. They were so beautiful. Really just, I had never grown poppies before, and so they really just stole my heart, and I can't wait to have more out there. Here's another variety of seeds that I got from the Select Seeds that I had a lot of success with, and this is the Rudbeckia Sahara. I grew these at the ends of the tomato trellises this year, and they were beautiful. They really were, they put out a ton of flowers. I was able to cut them. They're so pretty in bouquets, so I'm going to grow those again this year. And then I also have the Chimney variety of Rudbeckia, and this is from a company called Fruition Seeds. Fruition Seeds I buy from them because they are grown in the north part of the country, and they actually say organic seed for the Northeast. In my mind, I have this idea that if the seeds were grown originally in a weather, climate that is similar to mine, then I'm going to have a better chance of success with them growing them here. So if these seeds came from South Carolina or something like that, where they have much more warm weather for longer periods of time, in my mind, I think, they might not perform as well here, where I have a much shorter growing season and I have a much more temperate climate overall. That is why I grow from Fruition Seeds. They're a smaller shop, but they do have a really good variety of flowers for cutting and vegetables. So I recommend them, and I've had just nothing but good germination with their seeds. Next, so this is from a new plant company called Plant World Seeds. These are Snapdragons. So I did a short video on this plant haul or seed haul from Plant World Seeds. This is a British company. I have never grown from them before. I was looking for seeds for hellebores, and I want hellebores. They grow in my area, but they are crazy expensive, and I want to have like a lot of them. So the best route is to go by seed. However, growing something perennial like that from seed is challenging, but I feel like I have enough will and experience and knowledge of seed growing to go ahead and get that done. And I have the patience to wait for the hellebores to become, full-size plants, which will take several years. They're not an annual plant, so it's going to take time on that growing from seed. I haven't actually germinated anything from this plant company or fully grown anything from this plant company yet, but I will say it was $10 flat rate shipping from England. So that's not bad at all. You're definitely going to pay that or more from a place like Johnny's or Burpee that's here in the United States. So I was pretty impressed with that. And I was really impressed with the amount of plants they had from seed. Now, growing Snapdragons from seed is fairly beginner friendly, but growing hellebores I think they even had stuff for like trees and things like that, like really what I would consider more advanced seed growing experience. They had everything from beginner to advanced on that website. They just had a ton of seeds, and they had vegetables. They had everything. If I have a good experience growing their seeds this year, which I have no reason to think I won't, I'll definitely be buying more from them in the future. Snapdragon Orange Wonder from bakercreek. Really pretty. I just thought that orange and rosy color together would look so pretty in a bouquet. Stock. Okay, so stock. Last year was my first year for growing stock. All of the stock seeds that I purchased last year were from bakercreek. The stock that they had was on the cover of their catalog, and just seeing those pictures. I think it was actually this one, the spray antique pink. They're just gorgeous. They're so pretty, and they did not disappoint in the garden. I mean, they bloomed basically all the way up until fall. They smelled amazing. They look out so gorgeous. They're so romantic. They really have that cottage garden feel. And they did fantastic in my growing climate. They just seemed to love it. I thought for sure that they were gonna peter out after the cooler spring weather was done, but nope, they've bloomed all year. I really enjoyed it. And this particular variety is one that I grew this past year, and it's like a multi-branching. So the other stock that I have that I'm growing here, this Anytime Mix and the Vintage Brown, these will just throw up one flower. It'll be one stem, one flower head. But these are a spray variety, so they are more like a plant where you have multiple stems coming out and creating flowers. So you can cut off these and still have the look of them in your garden, but these ones will be just for cutting. So I'll grow these a little bit differently. They'll be more like line growing, like I did with my tomatoes up against the trellises. It'll be more like that, so I can just come through, cut what I want for bouquets, and then tear out, the roots and replace them with something else, like maybe a sunflower. Next variety or next type of flower is Strawflowers. I would say that these are really beginner friendly as well. If you're looking to get into seed starting for cut flowers, or even these are really pretty plants. So if you wanted to use them in your landscape, I think you'd be okay to do that. And they last a long time through the weather. They really stand up to rain and wind and everything like that because they're basically like a dried flower already. And that's very nice because you can just cut them, you can bring them in and have them in your, similar to how you would with grass. You can bring them in, put them in your bouquet, and then when all the other flowers die back and you need to refresh, you can take these out and just dry them. So I've really had a fun time with the straw flowers. I got the king size orange, and then I got the king size silvery rose. The only thing I would say about the ones that are a little more white is the rain can kind of leave like dark marks on it. And so if you want some for drying, I would, and you're going to have like a big rain, I would cut those beforehand. So we had a ton of rain this past season, and some of my white ones looked a little dingy after the rain. So next is sunflowers. I have a couple of companies that I've got sunflowers from, and a couple different varieties of sunflower. Again, I have a ton of seeds. I was planning on starting a flower farm, and these seeds are all still with me from 3 years ago. Just a few of them are new in the past year or so. So these are from Burpee. Don't write Burpee off. This is a good seed company. They've been in business for a long time for a reason. I know that sometimes people kind of look at Burpee as commercialized or things like that. I have had really great success with everything I've purchased from them, and they have some really beautiful varieties. They do cost a little bit more, but I think that with a large company like Burpee, you get the same as you get with Johnny's. You get a more consistent germination rates. They just do a lot more. They have a lot more resources for like research and development into their seeds. So I would always say definitely Burpee is a great company to buy from. Now, a caveat there. I buy from the Burpee website. I have bought Burpee seeds like in Walmart or the box stores, things like that. I have bought seeds from Burpee in that way, but I don't, for whatever reason, I don't have as much success with the seeds that I buy in store as I do with the seeds that I buy online. So, but you're paying a little bit more because you have to pay for shipping. You do, however, get more seeds typically from the seeds that you buy online. I usually grow at least 2 or 3 different plant varieties or vegetable varieties from them every year. This sunflower is called Sunray Yellow Hybrid, and I'll put a picture up. These are really low, sort of moundy, branching sunflowers. They're fantastic to put in containers and to put like in your borders or in little corners around your grow beds and stuff like that. They grow very easily. They don't need anything. They're just like any other sunflower. You don't have to do anything special for them at all. And they give you color pretty much the whole season, and they're really cheery. I recommend that variety. I've been growing it for like 5 years. I've had that flower in my garden every year for at least 5 years. Next company, I can't say enough good things about this company, is Sunflower Selections. If you love sunflowers, you got to go to their website. I think they have, oh gosh, I'm like 40, maybe 40 plus varieties or something along those lines of sunflowers. They have the biggest variety of ProCut. I believe they are the company that makes ProCut sunflowers. I'm not 100% sure on that. I'll look it up. But the ProCut sunflowers are perfect for growing for cutting. They just, like those stock that I was talking about, they send up one stem, one flower. You you just get the most beautiful flowers that are really developed and bred for cutting. I have probably every variety of pro cut in here. And Sunflower Selections, they their shipping is totally reasonable. They give you a ton of seeds. You're not going to find pro cut sunflowers cheaper anywhere. So Sunflower Selections, great company, very easy to maneuver around in their website, good growing information. Pretty simple. They do give you germination rates and things like that. Also, they send you free magnets, which is always fun to get a little free treat. Oh, that also, let me go back here just quickly and say the Plant World Seeds, they also send you a free variety when you order from them. Okay, just a few things left here. The first one is the yarrow. Yarrow is a really nice plant to grow. This can be perennial. I did plant Love Parade. The variety Love Parade is the one I grew last year. I did plant that out in my yard last year, so we'll see if that comes back. But otherwise, I typically just grow this as an annual and I don't let it stay in the ground. But we'll see. Yarrow is a really beautiful plant, but as far as like landscaping goes, I would use this as something. It's not formal at all. It has sort of like a wild feel. So if you're going to plant and grow this as a perennial, you want to have it sort of more for like a butterfly type garden, or some place where you are okay having like an unruly plant. So when you think about like landscape plants, I'm sorry, you um you kind of think about something that's a little bit, the way they grow is a little bit more controlled, so you can have design. But this, I would suggest it more in like a wildflower or less structured garden if you're going to have the yarrow. That's just how I feel about that. And then last but certainly not least, especially as far as cut flowers go, is zinnias. I have the Benary's Giant. That's a mix. Benary's Giants are hands down the best. But oof, I'm gonna say they're definitely the best cutting zinnia out there. They get huge. They're gorgeous flowers. Maybe I would say probably in my top three cut flowers of. If you want to have a cutting garden, you can grow zinnias, you can grow sunflowers, and I would also grow basil. If I could only grow three things for a cutting flower, those three things would be what I would grow. And the zinnia would be Benary's Giant. They have a ton of different colors. I just get the mix. You could go crazy buying all the different colors for sure. They're really gorgeous, but I find that the mix usually gives me a good variety that I'm satisfied with for sure. But if you had a favorite color, you can definitely get a favorite color and just grow that. The flowers are absolutely stunning on those. And then the next zinnia that I enjoy growing is the queen varieties. So queen lime, queen lime red. There's a few. I think there's maybe five or maybe six different colors that series, the queen series, comes in. So again, I just have the mix here from Johnny's. This queenie lemon peach. The last seeds I have here is the cactus chrysanthemum mix of zinnia. And I just really love the texture that these types of flowers bring into a bouquet. And the color scheme is really cheery for while they are in the garden. So zinnias have to open fully before you can cut them. You know, they have to have a rigidness in their the neck, the space where, you know, just below the flower and that becomes the stem, that has to be rigid before you can cut them, in order to get the best vase life out of them. So if you're gonna grow zinnias, you have, for cutting, you kind of have to think about that. They're also going to be like a visual decorative plant wherever you put them, but also have them for cutting. They're very productive. So you can go out and cut, 10 flowers off of a plant, depending on how much pruning you've done and things like that. And then, within a week or so, that plant is flush all over again. So you're not really making a hole necessarily in your landscape when you cut the zinnias for your bouquets. Okay. Ooh, is there anything else that I have a few things that I don't have? Oh, okay. So status. I think I'm going to be ordering status from Johnny's. I'll put up a picture here. They have a pastel mix that I think I'm going to be ordering from them. That's another flower that is essentially already kind of dry, like the straw flower. It holds color. It holds the same color that it grew with before you cut it when it's dry. So it's fantastic for dried flowers. So I'm going to be growing that. I also, okay. Oh, coleus. I'm gonna be getting a few varieties of coleus. Last year was the first year I tried growing coleus on my own, and it was a great success. So sort of like the Impatiens, 4 packs of coleus are, maybe $2.50 at Walmart. They're not necessarily the most expensive plant, but you need a lot of them. I have a larger shady area in my garden where I grow in the ground, and also my front porch is partial shade. It only gets morning sun, so I can use coleus in abundance in those areas, and I love the foliage look in a shady area, and they just fill in all the little spots between perennial. That garden is only 2 years old maximum. A lot of the plants that are out there are only a year old. I really did a lot more work in that garden this year than I did the previous year, and so I need filler in between the spaces before those perennial plants. Really takes a good 3 years for a perennial plant to fill out to its mature size. So using things like impatiens and coleus in that capacity is so nice. But if I were to go out and buy those 4 packs at a time, and I really want to have 30, maybe even 40 plants, that's gonna rack up. Growing coleus I found to be not very difficult at all. The plants held up fantastic throughout the year. I put them in the ground in container, and they held up all year long. I didn't have to do anything special for them as far as, feeding or pruning or anything. It's a very simple, easy plant to have in your garden that gives you a lot of bang for your buck as far as color and texture go. So I will be growing coleus. I'm going to be ordering coleus. I believe I'll be ordering some through Outside Pride and maybe Park Seed. I will put some pictures up here for you guys of the varieties that they have available. Oh, another place where they have coleus available that I might think about too is Swallowtail Seeds. They have a lot of geranium varieties too. They're one of those seed companies that have a ton of stuff. So I've never grown from them before though, but they are a company I'm looking at purchasing from this year. If I do, of course, I'll let you guys know. Thank you guys so much for spending this time with me. I know this was a long one. This will be the longest video in the What I'm Growing in 2024 series. Seed starting is a real passion of mine. It's something I really enjoy, and I can't wait to be sharing it with you guys all winter long. If you have any questions, just drop them down in the comments section and I will get back to you. I answer all comments. I also have an email in the channel description, as well as links to my Facebook and Instagram for the channel, where you can communicate with me there as well. All right. Thank you guys. I appreciate you. Have a great day. Bye.